Good evening, guys. Harden here with another Eve Echoes videos. This one is particularly aimed at all those kind of Raven lovers out there. I'm doing this because I've actually made some quite nice progress on my Navy Raven issue over the last week. There's two things that have substantially bumped up the DPS and effectiveness of the ship, and I just wanted to quite quickly run through those because they're kind of things that I've been working towards for a long time. It's not been easy. It's taken a long time. I'm, again, like, as you know, if you follow my channel, I'm not the most active player. I have kind of a business and two kids to look after and a wife, so I don't really have that much active time. So, and I'm also not putting huge amounts of real life cash into this game, just primarily the Concord Pass, and occasionally things like the AI Core when those things came along. But anyway, just want to explain what I've done over the last week that has really made this Raven Navy issue extremely nasty. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to jump in to the fitting. This is my Abyss fitting. Now, bear in mind, this is my Abyss fitting for running the Abyss without a nightmare. So this is for me running the Abyss level 10 with my two other Ravens and a corp mate in a Vindicator. So as you can see here, this Raven Navy issue has 6,416 cold DPS. Now, the reason that is so high, because you can see that this is actually quite a tanky fit. You've got one large shield booster, you've got two shield hardeners, and you've got a damage control on there, and there is only two ballistic controls, and you can see that's doing 6,416 cold. Is because this week two things happened, and the first one I'm going to highlight now is, well, actually this is the more minor one, but again also relevant. And hold on a second. Okay, so what you can see here is my Raven Thermomagnetic Storm 2 Nanocore, which I have been kind of leveling since the beginning. So it's my primary Nanocore. It's the one I've invested the most into. I was extremely lucky with the Concord Pass, which I completed earlier today, and I was able to actually level up the secondary attribute because, well, I had enough materials for one spin, and luckily that was the 6th spin, and managed to level it up. And for those of you who haven't managed to do this yet, because I imagine a lot of people haven't, because you do have to rely on a lot of luck. On my other two accounts, I didn't actually manage to do this, is that when you unlock the secondary attribute, you can actually reconstruct it for free, and it's based on your kind of library that you've collected. So you can see here that you've got a variety of options. So in this case, you can move this around. So in this case, I'm going to move to missiles. And I have kind of burnt some purple cores that I had, like spare purple cores. Also for missiles, the Hound is also good because it gives you large missile, some of the large missile bonuses. So I've burnt those over time. So as you can see here, what I've got is, actually that was just a 5.40 damage, but you can move around here. So let's see, I will click on this large missile torpedo, and that gives me a 9% damage output boost. And then if I scroll around here a bit further, you can see that there is another option here, which is large missile torpedo, which is a 10.80 explosion velocity. That helps apply damage a bit better, but actually, because the explosion velocity on large missiles is already so low, it only adds like an extra 8 meters per second, or I'm not sure if it's 8 meters per second or kilometers per second, which actually doesn't really make that much difference in terms of application. So that's why I haven't used that. And then finally, if I move around here, and this is the one that I have actually gone for, is you also get this large missile torpedo activation time. Now you can see that that's 3.90, which actually seems like it's worse because you're getting 9% bonus from just the damage, but actually when I compare the two, I actually get more paper DPS anyway from the activation time. So if I go on to, hang on, if I go back to large missile torpedo, the 9% damage, if I click on replace here, And again, you see there's no extra cost to that because it's based on this learning protocol library. If I jump back into the ship now, you will see that my DPS is 6,321, so it's actually dropped down a bit. So if you just remember that, 6,321, I'll jump in again. A little bit laggy, I'm afraid. I have to hold on for this. If I go back into the large missile torpedo damage, 6,321, just remember that figure, reconstruct attributes, and again move back around here. Oh, hang on, I have to go into missile. I'm in the wrong thing here. Missiles, move it back around to, I think it's the last one. Let's just check. Yeah, okay, so large missile torpedo, the activation time, replace, and then jump back into the ship, and you will see that that has the paper DPS anyway has increased to 6,416. So certainly on the face of it, the activation time, even though it looks smaller, actually provides a higher DPS boost. The second thing that actually I finally achieved over the last week is actually in relation to my implants, because again I was quite lackadaisical about this. I didn't really pay too much attention. I didn't do DR for about 4 or 5 months when I could have been doing that. But you can see here my Warhead Charge now, I have finally leveled that up to level 30. I actually, again, I had leveled it to about level 25 with all the various freebies we got, the stuff from running DRs and everything else. But then once I got to level 25, I actually did spend money on it, and I probably spent about 7 billion ISK to buy the extra compilers that I needed. So you can see here on the top here, top right now, I've got to level 30, and you've got kinetic warhead passive skill. Which is increasing at level 30 the kinetic damage by 370%. Again, you see on the Raven, you also on the Warhead Charge, you also get that on the EM Warhead passive skill. But the reason this one is particularly good, it goes back to my actual implant, my thermomagnetic, which I've been again working on since the beginning, because as you can see here, when I jump into the implant, you can see, hold on a second, just again a bit laggy here, you can see here that the primary attribute for the expanded attributes is 22.50 kinetic damage. And then if I actually jump into the basic attributes over here, you can also see that I also had another, let's have a look at this, missile torpedo damage, thermal, here. So you can see I also had another 9.53% in kinetic damage there. So that 9.53 plus the 22 then really makes the thermomagnetic extremely powerful when I activate the kinetic option on the implant. So that has boosted my DPS, my cold DPS, to 6,416. And like I said, this ship is quite a tanky setup. This is for running Abyss without any nightmare. So you can see there's 4 defensive modules on there, and even the you can see there's some integrated combat rigs, but you can see the first set is basically defensive. It's basically improving shield performance, extra shield boost, and extra activation speed. And then this one is the Warhead Flare Catalyst and Rigger Catalyst, and those are basically just about applying extra damage. They don't actually impact the paper DPS at all. And then finally you have here this one, which has the bay loading accelerator and the warhead calefaction. But you have to remember, these are level 3 implants, 6 level 3 implants for both of those, and they're only performing at 80% of what you would get by just installing a single one of each of these. So they add to the DPS, but basically if you added on your Raven, if you added just if you didn't integrate and you added 1 bay loading accelerator and 1 warhead calefaction, you actually would be doing technically on paper more DPS then on this ship. So as I said, I'm quite pleased with these upgrades. I've been kind of working, especially the implant, working towards that for a very long time, and then it was just an added bonus today that I managed to get enough of those keys through the Concord Pass, and then I was lucky with what dropped from using those keys, and then actually when I did the roll on the secondary attribute, I was also very lucky with that. So my next goal now is to do the same on my other two Ravens, get them both up to 6,500 DPS as well. Because I think that will be quite a powerful team. I mean, at some point I will try and add on here with the additional benefits here, which again, I'm not buying these. I will probably earn these over time from the Concord Pass. So this is not going to happen anytime in the next couple of months. It's going to be a much longer project to get that kind of third expanded attributes, because again, my spare risk at the moment is going to be going towards buying compilers, so that I can level up my second and third account in terms of the implant to level 30. And obviously on the implant, I'm only leveling it to level 30. If I do keep pushing it up over time, pushing it up towards level 45, the actual bonus from the actual kinetic bonus will increase, which will increase the DPS. But again, my first priority is actually just to get to level 30 on my other two accounts. I think one of them's at 28 already, and the other one's at 25. So that will still take, I mean, as I said, it took about 6 billion to just go from 28 to 30 on this account. So it's going to take a little bit of time to level up those two. But anyway, I just thought I'd show you the progress on my Ravens. Again, I do watch like virtual PGE's videos where he kind of demonstrates some kind of insane DPS and insane tanks that he kind of builds on the test server. And you kind of look at it and go, wow, that's completely unrealistic. It's not something that the average player is going to be, unless they're dropping huge amounts of real life cash on the game, are ever going to achieve. But I do kind of like the fact that at least on this Raven, I'm actually getting partly part of the way there. Just one other final thing I should mention is in terms of skills, because someone else was actually asking about skills on my last video. So I will kind of just demonstrate. Again, bear in mind, I am like a Raven specialist. I haven't trained any of the other, I haven't trained like the laser skills, I haven't trained the rail skills, I haven't trained the cannon skills, I haven't trained armor skills. I have just been focusing primarily on missile skills, drone skills, shield skills. That's what I focused on. But I will just kind of show you on the missile skills where I am in that kind of process, because again, that's what I focus on. So again, if you haven't focused on this and you're expecting your Raven to produce the same kind of DPS as mine, then obviously you're going to be disappointed. I mean, it is achievable for a normal player, but you do have to kind of be focused. But in terms of mine, I'll just kind of quickly run through in terms of the missiles. You can see there, I've got no skills in railgun, no skills in cannon, no skills in fighters. Again, I'm just BS focused. I haven't really done any capital skills at all. If I jump into my missile skills, you can see the small missiles are completely all 555. The medium missiles are all 555. I mainly did that because it gives you a little bit of extra time. Each time you get to level 5, you get a little, like an extra second or so on the ballistic controls. So that's kind of worthwhile. It was worthwhile because I'm specializing. It did take a lot of time. And then I come to the large missile skills, and again, you can see those are all at 555, which again, particularly with the Navy Raven is very helpful, because you do get that extra DPS bonus when you have the expert skills at level 5. So again, that took a long time. I can't remember how long it took, but I think like for the expert large missile torpedo upgrade, I think you're looking at about 45 days of training just for that. And then I go into, again, you can see I've bought some of the capital missile skills, but I haven't upgraded those at all. In terms of the kind of new skills that they introduced, which along with the introduction of the Raven Navy issue with its extra damage application, these kind of new skills have also really helped the Raven. Raven was really lagging behind all the other kind of battleships, in terms of particularly the striker battleships, in terms of its capabilities and application. And it still has problems in that you can use siege mode on like the APOC and some of the other ships, and still actually that's quite effective. Whereas on the Raven, it's still not as good. It's good if you've got like some smaller some slow target, but if it's anything that's moving at all, you're going to lose a lot of DPS by going into siege mode. It's fine for Abyss because you're shooting towers, but any time else you're losing a lot of DPS. But anyway, in terms of these new skills, you can see here the precision guidance. I now have a level 5 in the regular and level 4 in the advanced. In target navigation, which again, that's the first one is about applying more damage. The target navigation, again, you can see level 5 and level 4 in the advanced. And then expert target prediction, which again is that was the one I was talking about before. But missile bombardment, which is just a pure up DPS, again, level 5 and level 4 for the advanced version. And then missile projection, which is what you can see I'm training right now, which I've got another 7 days. That primarily is just about adding some range. It's not particularly that valuable, but again, it's quite handy. For example, with your rapid missiles, I can now hit out quite easily to about 55 to 60 kilometers with rapids. And then when you consider that they're particularly with the Raven issue, they're applying a lot more damage now, it does kind of make it a lot tougher for some of the smaller ships to tackle even when they're at range, because you can still hit them with rapids. And I think when I'm on my rapid fit, which I think my missile velocity or missile explosion is down to about 61, which is actually not that far above medium rapids, so it actually does apply to smaller ships quite well, my large rapids. And then finally you've got missile propulsion, which again is not that valuable. It is primarily just a range thing, which, as I said, comes in handy, especially if you're using the shorter range rapids or torpedoes, and I will kind of level that up when I have completed this one. And again, because I'm focused on the Raven, I probably will go and level these up, all of these up to 5.5, so I will level the advanced as well. In terms of the expert missile propulsion and the other expert skills here, I haven't actually seen them on the market yet. It's possible they have been, but again, I haven't had the ISK to buy those. I mean, even the shield skill, if I jump in here to the maintenance technology and go to defense upgrade, and if I jump over here to, actually, is this the right one? Oh, show a shield operation here. Again, you can see most of my shield skills are at 5, and then they introduced the new skill, which only one is really relevant, which is the shield generation, which I have pushed up to 5 because it gives me an extra 5%, which doesn't sound like much, but again, 5% on an already big shield really can make a difference, especially in a close fight. And then the advanced shield generation, if you view the market, I think these were going for around 6 billion each. I assume it's all the extremely rich nightmare pilots have been buying these up, but let's have a quick look. Shield, I think which one was it? The advanced shield, not that one. So the advanced shield coordinate, no, not that one either. Is that the one for battleships? Yeah, so it's the advanced shield generation. So that's going for 3.4 billion just for the advanced skill. And then, so if I go to the expert shield generation, which is the third one, you can see there's none actually on the market, but there was last week, and they were going for about 6 billion each. So that's definitely not something I can afford in the short term, but definitely something in the long term. I want to work to get that and try and get an extra 4%, maybe 5% on my shields as well. Anyway, I hope that kind of rundown was interesting. I probably not for most people, but for those of you who do like flying Ravens, I just wanted to show off what is possible, particularly with the Raven Navy issue. Again, bear in mind, my implant on this I've been working on for a long time, and it's very specialized. I do fly other Ravens, and their DPS is nowhere near this good, because the implants I have on those ones are different than this one, and obviously not getting all those bonuses in terms of kinetic. So it is very specialized, but I did kind of want to show you because some of you might be looking at how you can kind of pimp out your Ravens, and I just thought I'd give you an example of what kind of thing is possible. Anyway, if you do have any comments or suggestions about how I can actually improve the performance of my Raven even further, then I do welcome those. I was saying, I do welcome the comments. Someone talked about skills last time, which is why I showed that off. But also, I run the Abyss tonight. I did level 10s with my court mate with no nightmare, and I probably shaved about 30 seconds off my previous best time because of some advice that some of you guys had given in the comments last time. So I really do appreciate that. I do kind of read all those comments, and I do try and take note of those. Anyway, if you do like this content, please do like and subscribe, and I will try and produce more when I do get the chance. Thank you and good night.